Our theme today is Japanese traffic laws. And under Japanese law, a bicycle is considered a light vehicle. Therefore, it is very important to understand Japanese laws in order to operate a bicycle safely. So how well do you understand Japanese traffic laws for cycling? Let me explain some of the most basic rules of the road. First of all, where should you ride? Bicycles are expected to ride in the same lane with cars. However, bicycles must stay to the left side of the lane whenever possible. So if a bicycle rides in the right lane, this will be riding against traffic, so it is against the law. Nevertheless, in Japan you may often see bicycles riding on the sidewalks. There are certain situations in which it's allowed to ride on the footpath, but these are exemptions and there are only a few exceptions to the rule. Let's explain the situations in which it's allowed to cycle on the walkways. Ehime Prefecture Ordinance states that the cyclist must stay to the left when encountering other users. Also, the cyclist should ride nearer to the car lane. The first situation is when the sidewalk is clearly marked to allow bicycle traffic. In this case, a human-powered bicycle can travel the lane. For safety reasons, sidewalk cycling is permitted for children under the age of 13, elderly over the age of 70, and people with disabilities on a bicycle. Sidewalk traffic is also permitted when it is necessary to ensure safety. For example, when there is construction or there are vehicles parked along the left side of the road, or other cases where it is unavoidable. There are also rules for how a bicycle is allowed to proceed on footpaths. First of all, cyclists must always go slow and give way to pedestrians and other users. And although it is surprisingly unknown, the lane position is also fixed. The cyclist is expected to ride in the side of the lane closer to the vehicle traffic. If it interferes with pedestrians, the cyclist must stop. When entering a pedestrian crossing, you must always keep the most consideration for the pedestrians. I explained earlier that bicycles must go slow on the footpaths. But do you know the speed limit for bicycles on the roadway? The speed limit for bicycles is the same as any other vehicle on the roadway. So now do you understand where you're allowed to ride and how fast you can ride? I hope so, because next we're going to talk about which traffic light you should follow. In Japan, there are many different kinds of traffic lights. First of all, if you are traveling with vehicle traffic, you should follow the traffic light for vehicle traffic. However, in Japan, there are pedestrian traffic lights that have a sign next to them saying that it also covers bicycle traffic. In this case, you must follow that traffic light. And then, if you are traveling on the footpath with pedestrians, you must follow the pedestrian traffic light. So to put it simply, if you are a vehicle traveling in the vehicle lane, you must follow the vehicle traffic light. However, if you are traveling in the pedestrian lane, then you must follow the pedestrian traffic light. So next I would like to explain how to approach intersections. For example, when you have to turn right at an intersection with a traffic light, or when there is a left turn only lane. So if you want to turn right at an intersection with a traffic light, then you must cross straight to the corner and stop, and then wait for the traffic light to turn green in the other direction. So even if there is a right-hand turning lane, you must still go straight through the intersection, stop, wait for the light, and go to the right. So even if there are other lanes going straight, the cyclist must still stay in the left lane. So as a cyclist, you really have to be careful at intersections. Did you know there are some intersections that a bicycle is not allowed to cycle through? In these cases, it will be painted on the road how the cyclist should get off of the road with vehicle traffic and get onto the sidewalk. Next, I'll explain what you should do at a stop sign in Japan. So when you approach a stop sign, you must come to a complete stop and check for other traffic. So when you make a complete stop, you must put your foot on the ground and check for other traffic and make sure everything is safe. In Japan, this is also the law for all railroad crossings. You must come to a complete stop. Next, let me explain some of the other important rules that are pertaining to cyclists in Japan. So first, in Japan, cyclists must not ride abreast. Cyclists must ride one in front of the other. Also in Japan, it is against the law to ride while talking on your cell phone or with an umbrella in your hand. Also in Japan, you cannot use earphones or anything else that blocks the ear. You also must not weave around and should ride straight. Also, of course, you must not ride in a way that impedes or upsets other vehicles. Also, when it comes to alcohol, bicycle is the same as any other vehicle. You must not consume alcohol before operating the vehicle. You cannot ride with more than one person on the bicycle, unless the bicycle was designed to carry a child or as a tandem bicycle. Next, we will talk about the things that you are required to have on your bicycle. In Japan, even if you are riding during the day, all bicycles are required to have a light on the front and a reflector or a light on the rear. And from sunset to sunrise, you are required to have your headlight on. One other thing the Japanese law requires you to have on your bicycle is a bell, but you should not use this to get pedestrians out of your way. So, were you able to understand the basic traffic laws concerning bicycles in Japan? You must always follow the law. You're expected to take care of the safety of those around you. And you always have to be aware that traffic is constantly changing, and you must adjust to do what is the safest for you and those around you.